SAP is a company that's really interesting for a number of reasons. One is that it's performed very well over the last couple of years. Since late 2022, it's up from about 80 to 247, so it's basically 3x'd over this time period. It's done well this year as well. And I think the industry they're in specifically has a lot of room for growth, specifically with AI. And I think there's a lot of room for it to grow, but it does also have a pretty high PE valuation, and it's just an interesting company in general. So let's look a little bit deeper at that. The PE isn't quite as insane as it indicates here. 102, that is very, very high. Forward PE is still high, don't get me wrong. S&P 500 performance, S&P 500 PE is about 30 right now. Forward PE is about 24. So you're looking at a company that is basically double on the forward PE sector. So this is a company that is priced high. However, it's for a number of reasons. They're expected to grow pretty well next year, clearly, because the PE is higher. You can see it compared to this year. I'm a little concerned that they missed on 2 of the quarters. If they start missing here, it may not look as good. However, that's a bridge for another day. But it's also hiking a dividend, and like I said, there's a lot of room specifically for growth in this company. What they do, risk, project management, HR stuff, that is a lot of that is going to, everyone's expecting margins to increase dramatically on that because a lot of it's going to be outsourced with AI. So this is a company that can become a lot more profitable fairly easily if just things go as we think they will over the next couple of years. Also, it's one of the larger companies. I mean, even with the hefty P valuation, even if you say it isn't worth this, it's worth half as much or something like that, which I don't think is true. Even if you said that, still a $140 billion company. This is a large company. There's security there. They obviously have they're in a lot of different businesses. They already help a lot of things out. They've proven themselves. It's not like out of nowhere, like, hey, we're a $5 billion market cap company and we're going to do this too, So they have some provenness there. It's also a European company, which I'm clearly American with my accent and the way I'm talking about stuff. But so it's a little bit of a negative. Probably a lot of people also watching this are fellow Americans. It's a little bit different. You have to get ADRs. There might be fees, things like that. But if you're European, specifically, I think it's a German company. At least it's headquartered in Germany. I don't know all the EU regulations with stocks and all that, but I would expect it's actually an advantage to own this company, because you don't have to worry about buying U.S. companies. It's a different issue. So if you're European and you're watching this video, that's not really a negative. That's probably more a positive. But it's something to factor in for wherever you are individually watching this video. Schwab thinks it's going to do well over the next couple years, or specifically the next year. It's a 1-year outlook. They have it in the top 13% of all companies performing over the next year. They said that a day ago, so they're pretty high on it. I think as a long-term investment, this should be fine, should do well on it. I wouldn't be surprised if over the next year or two, it didn't do crazy well, but I think it still could do fine. I'm just mostly worried about the PE, specifically if you have a couple of bad quarters, like you miss, similar to how you did Q3, Q1. I would not be surprised if it fell fairly dramatically, but that's just, a bad case scenario. Also, the dividend, I think I mentioned this, dividend 1%, they're obviously increasing it. That's pretty solid, and I like to see that. Let's see some other ratings. They have a narrow economic moat. It's very broad, like a 0, 3, 10. I don't really like that system, but that's how Morningstar rates it. They get 3 stars there. You got buy, you got long, you got buy. Really high ESG stuff, weighted issues score. Most European companies do well on that, so I'm not super surprised. Let's take a little bit of a look at the PE a little bit historically over the last year and a half or so. Yeah, we're a little bit higher. They have forward PE a bit lower at 37, which is a lot easier to swallow. But even then, you're a bit higher. You were at 19 just a year and a half ago. It has done very well over the last year, like I mentioned, certainly last year and a half, but even the last year. So you're a little bit on the expensive side, but not as high as it has been even like in the middle of the year when it was 41, 39. But you're still right around that range. And then lastly, what analysts have to say, there's not a bunch of analysts, but of the 16, 12 of them are saying buy. That's right around normal. You want about 2/3 of analysts to say buy for a growth-centric company. This is we're right about at that metric, right? A little bit more, I think, doing off the top of my head. So, yeah, this is a company that I think as a long-term hold should be fine. They're well positioned, certainly for AI stuff. If things ramp up dramatically, they could have a large increase in earnings per share, things like that. The PE is high. You would. And one thing I didn't dive into, let's dive into that now, is I'm not super impressed with the earnings growth over the last couple of years, but that doesn't necessarily say anything crazy. He saw a pretty sharp drop, but it was a bad year in 2022. This year isn't crazy either. Also, revenue is not growing as much. But like I said, there is an expectation that AI is going to help it out. There really is. And if you're banking on that, you'll probably do very fine, if not better. But if not, things could get a little bit. I think probably it's one of the better companies positioned for AI stuff, right? Just being an integrated, earnings per share is going to go up quite a bit. So, anyways, if you enjoy watching this video, I appreciate if you liked or subscribe. I do daily stock content on this channel, but that's all I got for today, guys. Thanks for watching.